There you are. Come on in. Welcome. I'm Lou Vickery, and I'm excited that you're here. Today, we're going to share some thoughts about accepting the challenge. How do you go about doing that? In fact, life is full of challenges, isn't it? Some small, occasionally some big. But there should be some thought process involved in accepting that challenge. You see, a challenge in any phase of life gives us a glimpse, a real glimpse of ourself that we've never seen. Now think about it. Challenges give us a chance to see maybe what we haven't seen before. We don't know what we might possess, but ultimately they give us a chance to be better than we ever have been. And great progress emerges from great trials and challenges. How do you accept the challenges that you face? Well, first, I want to offer you 7 points. First is that progress is always out front. Now, what does that have to do? What does that have to do with challenges? Because you see, the challenges we face are the way we make progress, right? Few things in life limit us as much as the attitude of playing it safe. A safe place, I've said this before, a safe place is not necessarily a secure place. The only safe place that will be secure is not where we are right now. It's on down the road a bit further. It's always out front. So we have to think about the fact that playing it safe may not always be the best way to go. In fact, the second point is probably the way we should approach our challenges. We need to think in terms of being a risk taker. Measured risk, as I like to say it, because if we look at it, we analyze it, we evaluate it, and then we come up with a course of action. I think we're always much better off doing that than hoping and wishing. You see, being a risk taker means that we become creators of circumstances, not necessarily the victim of circumstances. Our habits do not keep us from making the progress we want to make by accepting the risks that we're confronted with. I have found that those who are risk takers, who understand that you got to stick your neck out, they are not imprisoned by comfortable habits. They're not trapped by routine. They do not cling to the unproductive. They have come to understand that they must be willing to do things they dislike in order to bring about things they do like. You see, challenges are full of things that we may not really feel comfortable in facing, but we got to stick our neck in there and go for it. So the point number 3 is never be afraid to fail. For if you are big enough to risk failing, I think you got a much better chance of succeeding at a higher level. In other words, if you're afraid of failing, you shift the odds in favor of failing. What am I saying? You got to be big enough to risk failure in order to succeed. Be unafraid, but not foolish. The one thing that really sits at the core of all this is what we have to work with. What do we offer the challenge? You see, we're limited to the extent to which we can satisfy our dreams and desires by our talents, our abilities, and our resources. However, the most influential limit is not what we are, but rather what we decide to do with what we are. The course we follow in taking what we have and making it better is influenced by the challenges that we're willing to take on to bring about progress, to bring about improvement. So accept the challenge of you and what you bring to the table. Number 5 is the role of our environment. Our environment and surroundings can play a key role in how we face up to challenges. How we do not need to be at the mercy of our surroundings. We can deliberately choose how most of the conditions that affect our progress, how we can approach them. So never blame the lack of progress solely on the conditions around you. Regardless of external circumstances, you hold the power to face up to every challenge you're confronted with. Just do your best and enjoy the progress that you make. You know, yesterday, I spent time on the tennis court. I love playing tennis. I love the challenge that comes from being involved in competitive situations. Well, as you know or may not know, I was a professional baseball player, a pitcher. Probably not any more challenging situations than being a pitcher, because you see, you make a decision and right away you know the results. Well, it doesn't necessarily happen that way in life. But I do know this, that if we do our best, sometimes with less than the best, we can get ahead. And that's point number 6. The reason I brought up the tennis thing is I play against guys much younger than myself. Makes it tougher, but it also makes it fun. The challenge. Do your best with less than the best. You know, rarely will you always have the best of everything to work with, but you can make the most of what is available to you to work with. Be willing to do your best with conditions as you find them. For what assurances do you have that conditions or circumstances will be any better tomorrow or even the day after that? So do your best with less than the best. Are you thankful? That's right. Be thankful. Be thankful for the challenges, the obstacles, the hurdles, the difficulties you face every day. Be thankful for them. Because how could you rise if you had nothing to rise above? How could you overcome tough times if you had no tough times to overcome? How could you see how much you're worth to yourself if you had no obstacles to surpass? Be thankful. Be thankful. And then jump right into the middle of the challenge. A high level of success requires a high level of challenges. If you let fear limit your ability to fear challenges, the possibility exists that you will reduce your expectations and shift to a lower gear. To succeed in an extraordinary way, challenges must be faced in an extraordinary way. Face up to the challenges. Life is full of them, but be thankful for them and tackle them on your terms. This is from book number 22. winning the head game. The key to success. I'm Lou Vickery, and until we meet again, you keep a smile on your face, keep happiness in your heart, and keep optimism on your tongue. That's a challenge in itself sometimes, but you can do it. See you soon.